a production of the New Jersey courts.
Welcome to the Opioid Summit, hosted by the Atlantic and Cape May County Vicinage. We're proud of hosting this event. What we want to accomplish in this conference is not only to acknowledge the scope of the drug epidemic, but to come together as a community to find solutions, to work with each other, to be open-minded about solutions, to increase our knowledge about addiction, treatment, and services. Drug overdose is the leading cause of accidental death in America. Last year, 71,000 people died, and the numbers keep growing. There's no end in sight. The opioid epidemic, just to put it in context, is like having a Vietnam War every year.
The Opioid Summit included presentations from members of law enforcement, the medical community, and the state legislature, as well as the academic community, treatment providers, and graduates of the Recovery Court program. Judge Mark Sanson heads the Recovery Court program for the Atlantic Cape May Vicinage.
The thesis of today is treatment is possible, treatment works. I've seen it work. This afternoon at our Recovery Court graduation, I'll have 77 people who have changed. They have changed their lives through recovery. Treatment is the modality that will bring back our kids, our neighbors, and will reunite families.
That you use it, that you become tolerant.
Dr. Erin Zerbo is assistant psychiatry professor at Rutgers, New Jersey Medical School. She explained the process of addiction, how it changes pathways in the brain, and how time away from the substances of abuse can begin to help the brain heal itself. When it comes to opioids, she says, the real problem is that detoxing without treatment can often lead to fatal overdoses.
If we detox people, if you put someone in a detox, how long are detoxes? Like 3 to 7 days, right? And what's the relapse rate after detox? 90 to 95%, literally. So detox is not evidence-based. There's no reason to detox someone from opioids, and you're completely doing them a disservice because they're gonna lose their tolerance. And so you're increasing their risk of going out and having an overdose.
Zerbo also discussed how fentanyl is the new epidemic and how it is even more potent than heroin.
So fentanyl is really the new kid on the block, and I'm sure a lot of people have been hearing about it recently. It turned out to be, in the autopsy results, what killed Prince was actually a fentanyl overdose. And if you look here, the drug seizures containing fentanyl were really very low. There was a small spike in 2006, but a few years ago they started to see fentanyl popping up, and this is 2016. It's even higher for 2017. So now you see this enormous just surge of fentanyl that's been available. And if you look here, you can see that it's actually very, very potent. So on the left is a lethal dose of heroin. This is a lethal dose of fentanyl. It's 50 to 80 times stronger. And people might have heard of carfentanil. If you squint, you can see this tiny grain of salt. This is the same amount of a lethal dose. It's 5,000 times stronger than heroin.
There were also messages of recovery and hope.
I was a Dean's List student. I was on the Criminal Justice Honor Society, but I had a big secret. I was addicted to painkillers, and I was addicted to alcohol. My last week of school, I had my cap and gown. I was ready to graduate. All I had to do was take my finals, and I couldn't because I had to get high. I never received my diploma from Kean University. The next 8 years, I was in jails, institutions, psych wards. I lost my children. I lost my car, I lost my license. I was in horrible car crashes. I was raped several times, I was beat up. But none of that matters anymore. Because when I was sentenced to drug court, I did not comply. I ran. I was on an ankle bracelet from immigration because I have a green card, and you're not supposed to get drug charges when you have your green card. So they were ready to deport me. On August 28, 2014, my mother took one look at me and said I was going to die. And I told her, I'm fine. Lesions on my face, 86 pounds, like I'm perfectly fine. And she left to go to work. And I went downstairs, got money, and I was going to get high again. Well, something changed. I heard somebody in my house. There were angels with handcuffs. They told me to put my hands up. My mother had turned me in, and I was going to the jail. And when I sat in jail, I detoxed, it was horrible, but I knew something had to change. And then they sent me to Hanson House here in Atlantic County, where I can truly say it saved my life. There I learned how to live again. I learned how to make my bed again. I learned how to take care of myself again. I left there and I continued to go to meetings. I believe in prayer. I believe in a 12-step program. I believe in complete abstinence from drugs and alcohol. And today, I look at this world differently. I have custody of my kids. I have a beautiful daughter that I had in recovery. I have a loving, caring boyfriend who is so supportive of me. I now give back. I tell people there is a way out. If I could get out, you can too. And I truly believe that treatment works.
I found myself in jail and was brought in front of Judge Sanson. He was actually my criminal court judge, and I remember my mom and aunt being in the courtroom every time that I came in and crying because I was requesting to go to prison. But Judge Sanson wouldn't allow that. He sent me back to the county several times to think about going to prison, and eventually he sentenced me to drug court. I would be remiss if right now I didn't mention the fact that I sat across from the President of the United States and told him that Judge Sanson and drug court saved my life.
March 3rd, 2018, I opened my own barbershop, suffering from This is a man that suffered from addiction for 18 years, in and out of jails, in and out of rehabs. So when I say to y'all, anything is possible. Anything is possible. There's nothing that we cannot do. Don't look at me as the person that I am. Look at the person that I can be.